We are live. Okay, Common Core is basically solving quadratic equations and it goes on to it says either by factoring, it says by completing the square, it goes on and on all these different ways, which is what we're going to do, okay? So, first of all, number one, just factor. I can factor that. That's easy. Parentheses, 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 parentheses. X and x, because x times x makes x squared. And it's just plus 4 minus 4. That's it. Thumbs up on that one? Okay, everybody can do that one? Okay. Number two. Okay, parentheses, 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 parentheses. Okay. I have to go in x and in x. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for is the multiples of negative 8 that make a negative 2. So I got to do a positive and a negative. I got to do positive and negative. So I'm going to go negative 4 and a positive 2 because we have a way to check, and the way we check is with our double smiley. Our double smiley helps us make sure our middle term is right. So our double smiley here is a negative 4x and a positive 2x. Negative 4x and positive 2x they do add to a negative 2x. So this is the correct factoring. Thumbs up? Okay. 3. Now 3 is a little harder because that darn 2. So whenever you've got a number in front of the x squared, you have to use it. But it messes up the factors because the multiples of 5 are never going to make 11. But with the help of the 2, we'll get it. So I know for sure 2x and x. That is the only way I'm going to get a 2x squared. It's 2x and x, right? Now the multiples of 5 are 5 and 1. But I have to be careful where I put them. I'm going to put them like this. 1 and 5. Because I need to make an 11, right? If I do it this way and use my double smiley, get a 10x and a 1x, which will make an 11. But I need a negative 11, so I'll make them both minus and minus. So this will give me a negative 10x and a positive 1x, okay? And that will make my 11x. Okay? Now, 4. The only difference between 4 is we're going to take it a step further. We're going to, since set equal to 0, we'll factor it first, and then we'll get our answers. Now, for sure, give yourself a little side note, 2 answers. We've got to have 2 answers. We have to. With an x squared, we'll always have 2 answers, okay? So let's factor. Let's factor first. Okay. And x and x. I'm going to go, let's see. 3 and 4 won't work, but 6 and 2 will do it, right? So I'm going to go a negative 6 and a negative 2. Okay, those do multiply to make a positive 12, but adds up to negative 8. But I'm not done because I'm solving it, right? So if I'm solving it, take it a step further, okay? So I'm going to go x minus 6 equals 0, because it's supposed to equal 0, and x minus 2 equals 0, okay? And I solve. Plus 6, one answer is positive 6. Plus 2, the other answer is positive 2. Okay? Okay, number 5 is a little bit harder, but we can do this one. So what I'm going to do is solve it. I'm actually going to divide by 4, divide by 4. So if I divide by 4, divide by 4, and I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not actually going to divide and get a decimal. I'm just going to leave it like that because what I see is some numbers that can be square rooted. So I'm going to leave it as 27/4, and hopefully you'll see why. So if I have an x squared equals 27/4, the reason I left it this way is I know my next step is to square root it. And I know the square root of 4 is 2, right? And then I can break my 27 up into 9 and 3. So I'm going to leave it that way, and then I'm going to square root, okay? Square root, okay? So when I square root it, 2 answers, right? So I'm going to do a little side work over here because I'm going to run out of room. A little side work. Square root of 27 over the square root of 4, okay? Because that's really what this says. Well, the square root of 4 is easy. That's just 2, right? The square root of 27 isn't a very good square root, but it can be broken down. I can make 27 into 9 times 3, and I like 9 times 3 because the square root of 9 is just 3, so I can reduce this. So if I take the square root of 3, I get 3 square roots of 3 over 2. So I took this 27, I broke it up into 9 and 3. Okay, I did. I knew the square root of 9 was a plain old 3 times the square root of 3. The square root of 4 is 2. Now, there's got to be 2 answers, right? I only have 1 answer, so if I do this positive and negative, it shows my 2 answers. I have a positive answer and I have a negative answer. Okay? So that one's a little harder. Okay. Number 6. Are you ready? Am I going too fast? Okay, again, I want to get rid of the square. So, thanks, Daniel. So I want to get rid of the square, and I can undo or get rid of the square by doing its opposite, which is to square root it. So if I square root both sides, the square root will cancel the square, and I'll be left with an x plus 4 equals, well, the square root of 25 is just 5, right? Except 2 answers, right? 2 answers. Got to have 2 answers. So it's really a plus or minus 5, because I know 5 times 5 is 25, but also negative 5 times negative 5 is also 25. So I get my 2 answers. Well, if I have 2 answers, to get 2 answers, I have to have 2 equations. So I'll go, okay, x plus 4 equals 5. And, that's my little and symbol, x plus 4 equals a negative 5, okay? Next time. Okay? So, just have to solve. Minus 4, 1. Minus 4, and I get negative 9. Okay? Seven. If you were not here on Friday, whenever we take the square root of a negative 1, we get this number called I. Okay? I is the square root of negative 1. And we're going to need to know that for number 7. Because when I take the square root of a negative 16, I'm going to get an I answer. Okay? So I'm going to square root. And I'm going to square root because the square root gets rid of the square. So the square root gets rid of the square. And I'm left with x plus 3 equals. Well, I get a negative number. And then, in fact, you know, if I'm like really kind of like not careful, whenever you take the square root of a negative number, like negative 16, bad news, doesn't like it. It says non-real. And it isn't real, it's imaginary. So what do? Well, I'm going to use this information right here, okay? I know that I'm going to have the square root of 16 times the square root of negative 1, because 16 times negative 1 makes a negative 16. And I did that on purpose because I want to use this information that the square root of negative 1 is I, okay? And I'm going to use that in my answer. So, all right, I'm going to go x plus 3 equals 4I. Square root of 16 is 4, and I get the I. But I need 2 answers. Remember, I got to have 2 answers, so I don't forget the fact that there's a plus and a minus. Good job, Gage. That's right. So then the last thing I do is just subtract the 3. Now I got to be careful. So I subtract the 3. The 3 is a real number. This is an imaginary. You can't really subtract them, so you just go negative 3 plus or minus 4I. Okay, that does represent 2 answers. So you can't really add these together because that's a real number and those are imaginaries. Okay. All right. Number 8. All right, I think I can bring this over and factor it. So I got a 2x squared minus 11x plus 5 equals 0. Okay. I've seen this problem before, haven't I? In fact, if I look at this problem and look right up here, I've done it before, haven't I? I've actually factored this problem. So the factoring is not going to be too bad because I've already factored it. So it does factor into a 2x minus 1 and x minus 5 equals 0. So now the only other step I have to do is just solve it, right? I've already factored it. I already did that whole thing up here. So it does factor, but now what I'm going to do is solve it. So I've got to have 2 answers. So I have a 2x minus 1 equals 0 and an x minus 5 equals 0, right? So I go plus 1, I get 2x equals 1. Divide by 2, and one answer is 1/2. That's one answer. Good. The other answer is just plus 5, get an answer of 5. Okay. Thumbs up. I see 1 thumb up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. That's good. Okay, number 9. Well, this one's actually pretty easy to factor. I'm kind of running out of room, so I'll squeeze over here. But this is just going to be an x plus 6, x minus 6 to factor. That's all, right? And it gets pretty easy to solve. You get x equals a negative 6 and x equals a positive 6. Because if I subtract and add, I'm just solving it. I get my 2 answers. Minus 6 to solve it. Plus 6 to solve it. Okay? Still get 2 answers. Okay? All right, number 10. Yes, go ahead, Gage. You good? Okay, number 10, solve by completing the square. Okay, and this answers your question. When you said what happens if it's already on the other side, then we skip that step. Well, this is exactly your question. Take a look at it. Complete square. Here's our rules, right? Step 1, move C to the other side. It's already been done. It's already been done, right? Step 1's been done. Step 2, factor out an A. Well, there is no number in front of x squared, so that's been done. So step 1 and step 2 we can ignore. But now step 3, B. Okay, B is equal to -8, right? We're going to take half of that -8. It gives me -4. Question. Kayla, that's no good. So B is -8. I took half of that, just -4, and I'm going to square that. Gives me positive 16. So it says, take 1/2 of B, so I took half of -8, just -4, and then I squared it, give me positive 16. Now it says, fill the hole. Well, I really don't have a hole up here, but I'll show you what the hole is. X squared minus 8x. And I'm going to put my plus 16 right there. So put that plus 16 into the equation, okay? Plus 16. The reason we do this is so we can factor. That's why we do this whole process. Equals, let's see, 10. I got to balance the equation, right? Balance the equation. So I just added 16 to the side. So I'm going to add 16 to the side. So keep it balanced. Right? Add 16. Okay, keep it balanced, right? Okay, now, next step, it says factor, okay? So if I factor, I'm going to go parentheses, 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 right? I'm going to go x, x. I'm going to go -4 equals 26, right? What am I doing? -4, right? But let's rewrite it as x minus 4 quantity squared equals 26. Because there's 2 of them, so I wrote it as quantity squared, right? I'm going to square root it. To get rid of the square, square root it, square root it. Now there is no square root of 26. We're just going to leave it. Don't give me a decimal. There is no square root of 26. So we're just going to leave it as, but there's got to be 2 answers, right? So I go plus or minus the square root of 26. If there was a square root of 26, I would put it down. If I could reduce it, I could put it down, but I don't. Okay, now the square root, cancel the square, right? Square root cancels squared, so I just got an x minus 4, right? If I add the 4, you can't really add 4 to this, but I need to get it by itself, so I go x equals 4, because I brought the 4 over, plus or minus the square root of 26. There's my 2 answers. Okay, kind of hard, but you guys can do it. Ready to turn the page? All right, 11. Rewrite in vertex form, which means complete the square. Now this one's a little bit harder, but follow along, okay? So first thing I do, f of x. I mean, I like y better. Don't you guys like y better than f of x? So just change this to y equals. Because really, for us, f of x and y mean the same thing. For us, okay? For what we're doing. Eventually, they won't. But that's in pre-calculus, okay? But for right now, f of x and y are always going to be the same. For us. X squared minus 4x plus 4. Oops, 6x plus 4. Okay, what's the first step? What's the first step? So let's bring it over. So I have a y minus 4 equals an x squared minus a 6x, okay? What's the next step?
Find b.
Okay, b is -6, right? So b is -6. Let's take half of that. Half of b is -3, right? And let's square that answer. Gives me positive 9, okay? So we take the 1/2 b squared. So I took half the -6, -3 squared, and I get a positive 9. So then it says fill the hole, right? So I go plus 9 here. And I'm going to go plus 9 there. Okay, how am I doing? Okay so far? Well, let's see what I have. I'm going to have a y plus 5 equals, and then this will factor into x minus 3, x minus 3, right? Oh, that's a bad looking 3. That's a better looking 3. Okay. And then I can rewrite that in what I call vertex form. So I have a y plus 5 equals x minus 3 squared. I'm almost there. Bring the 5 back over. Bring the 5 back over, right? So I'm going to bring this 5 back over this way. And I'm going to rewrite this as y equals x minus 3 squared minus 5. Now, the vertex. When we talked about the vertex is the opposite of that, right? Remember, opposite. So the vertex of this one, vertex is going to be at positive 3, negative 5, okay? I know that. Here's my vertex right there. So I can graph that. I can go to 3, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you guys remember how to graph?
What is the positive 3 when it says negative?
Right, it's always the opposite of the inside.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you know why it has to be the opposite? Because that number would zero it out. And of course the vertex is at its very lowest spot. So now, do you remember how we graphed? 1, 1, 2, 4, remember 2, 4, 3, 9. Remember how we did that? 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. So let's just go 1, 1, go over 1, 2. 2 squared is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go over 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And of course it's symmetrical. Remember, it's symmetrical, so I'd have to have a point here. Have to have a point there and a point right there. Let's see if I can draw in my parabola. All right. That was a little bit harder, wasn't it? I like that answer. Just follow the steps, right? Okay, 12. Now, personally for me, I'd rather not complete the square because there's a faster way. So in number 12, it doesn't say complete the square, so I don't have to do all that hard work. I can go straight to the vertex. Can be found by negative b over 2a, right? Well, a is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 8. So my vertex is going to be, let's see, I'm going to go negative 2, because that's what b is, over 2 times 1, because that's what a is, okay? So b is negative 2, put it right there. A is 1, I put it right there. So I get 2 over 2. I really do. I get 2 over 2. But that's just 1. So my vertex equals 1 is at 1 something, right? 1 something. Well, how do I get the something? Plug it in. So I get the something. Let's take my 1. Let's plug my 1 back in. So I'm going to plug it in, okay? Let's plug x equals 1. Okay, we're going to plug it in. Plug and chug. Here we go. So I'm going to have y equals 1 squared minus a 2 times a 1 minus an 8, right? Oh, negative 9, I think. Let's see if we get a positive 1. Yeah, negative 9. Y equals a negative 9. Okay. So here's my vertex, okay? So I can go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And I can do my 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, right? I can go 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 9, and it's symmetrical. It goes like that, it goes like that, okay? Now, before I stop, there's some other things on there that I want to make sure we know how to do, okay? So I'm going to show you 5 more types of problems that hopefully will be easy, okay? So real quick, we'll make some up, okay? But there's some I problems on there also, okay? Real quick, let's see, this will be number, we'll say call this 13, okay? 3 plus 2i plus 5 minus 4i. Okay? I's are i's. Okay? We're just going to simplify it. It says add, and we've done this before too. Real numbers add to real numbers. 8. Imaginary numbers go with imaginary numbers. Negative 2i. Done. That's it. Right? Okay? We can also do the distributive property. We can also go things like this. 3i times a 4 minus 2i. But before we do that, I squared is equal to negative 1. I'm going to put that That's not a note card. I squared equals negative 1. I need to remember that. If you were here on Friday, then we talked about that, right? So let's see how this works. Right, this times this, right? 12i minus 6i squared. Okay, and what's I squared? I squared is equal to negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as a 12i minus 6 times negative 1, which makes a positive 6, right? So my answer is just 12i plus 6. Or, in the right order, it would really be 6 plus 12i, but I'll take either one, okay? Wasn't so hard, was it? Okay. Gauge, there you go. We can also FOIL. 3 plus 2i times, say, 4 minus 3i. We can also FOIL it. We can do that, too, if we want to. Of course, I'm going to remember that before I do too much, I squared is equal to negative 1. Okay, I have to remember that when I do this problem. So let's see how that works. Okay. 12 minus 9i plus 8i minus 6i squared. And I'll step back and let you catch up. We just went first, you know, outside, inside last. How am I doing? So I can combine those. I'll have a 12 minus a 1i minus 6 times negative 1 because, hey, lo and behold, I said that I squared is equal to negative 1. Okay, how am I doing? Okay, so then I'm going to get a 12 minus a 1i plus 6, right? Now, why not add 12 and 6 together? I can add those, right? So I get an 18 minus 1i. Okay, 2 more problems, I'll be done. Okay, I sure will. Yeah, if you're gone Friday, then you're probably a little lost, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, Will. Oh, that times that. Go ahead and answer it.
Okay.
Just say Mr. Davies' room.
Hello, David.
That times that.
Yep.
Is it? Hello, Mr. Daly. It must be a good one. I know, it's got to be good. Oh, hallelujah. That was worth asking. I'm so glad you called. Well, good job to her. Yay! That was good news. I can handle that. Okay. That's nice. All right, thanks, Leah. All right, that was good news. Okay, good. So, you know, I teach the collection of evidence to the seniors that haven't passed the test. Well, all my kids passed again.
Nice.
Yeah, so it means Luca gets to graduate. Yay. Yeah. Okay, I want to do 2 more problems and I'm done, honest, okay? So, let's do, what were these? Is this number what? 16. Okay, number 16, okay? So, if I to the 4th power is 1, okay? Let's put that. We talked about that on Friday also. I to the 4th power is 1, okay? So if I said I had I to the, let's say 31 power, okay?
It's always one.
That's the same thing as I to the 28th times I to the 3rd. We talked about this on Friday, didn't we? No? Did I not talk about this?
You added. Oh, you added.
Didn't do this one on Friday? Oh, maybe I'm ahead of myself. Maybe that's on your next test.
Maybe this should be on Wednesday.
Maybe that's on your next test. This is probably on your next
Or we
test.
could do this today and test Wednesday.
It's all good. I think I'm done then. Because I think that's on our next test.